She told me she wanted an open relationship when I told her I wasn't giving in, and that I should feel bad for making her hide what she wanted. We've been seeing each other for 10 months and are both 27 years old. Lucy, my queer girlfriend, really wants to bring in other people, like MMF, and so on. She has always been honest with me about this. I, on the other hand, am rather plain. I never scolded her or made her feel guilty when she told me about them. But I always made it clear to Lucy that they were a little more than I could offer, and that I would never feel comfortable with another guy. Lucy told us that she would be happy to set up an MFF threesome with another woman for us after 6 months of dating. At first, this made me a little nervous because I didn't want it to be used against me later on as ground for a deal. Because of this, I kept checking in with Lucy to make sure she was sure it was what she wanted and that we were going to do it together. It was not long after the trio. I agreed with Lucy that we should go to an outdoor party together, so we did. But we only played with each other. She also said that they should get in touch with and meet other partners from the scene. It seemed like we would be making friends with couples who were also trying out garden parties and other similar events, as well as with people who could go to these events with us as friends. We found another couple through an app and had a few drinks with them. This morning, Lucy called me and threw me a surprise. She said that our physical life had been making her unhappy and bored for a few months now. I had no idea what was going to happen. I knew Lucy was braver than me, and I thought I was doing a good job with this, the sex party, the MFF trio, and talking to another pair. Even though this made me sad, I did my best to ask Lucy what she felt was missing and what we could do to fix things. We knew she wanted us to try MMFF non-monogamy after we asked her about it. Having truth or dare games with them. If possible, some kind of trade, etc. I can't see myself doing any of those things because they make me feel bad. In any case, they are very important to Lucy. Lucy and I talked about what else we could do to make things better. People talked about toys, but it was clear that this was just a distraction. Lucy got a little angry with me at one point, acting like I wasn't being open enough, and asking me how I knew I wouldn't agree with her. She is the one who is making this happen and knows exactly what my limits are, but the situation is unfair, and I won't give in. It dawned on both of us that the relationship was ending after some back and forth. Even though the news hurt me, I told Lucy that I was glad she spoke up, and that if something is important to her, she should do it herself and not give in. By this time, Lucy was crying and kept asking if this was the end, if the talk wasn't going the way she had hoped, and so on. Following our decision to talk about it again later, we said goodnight. I'm writing this now because I just got off the phone with Offer. I'm very upset because hearing that your lover has been unhappy and uninterested is not very nice. The situation she wants us to be in is something I don't think I'll ever think about, so I guess this is the end of Lucy and me. There's a chance it will come up again later, even if she agrees to bury it. While I was writing this, Lucy has been texting me to beg me to find a middle ground. Even though I've tried to let her know that the limits she wants me to compromise on are hard and would probably hurt me, the subject of compromise keeps coming up. Don't know what to do. Please help me figure out what to do, and if there is anything that can be saved without going too far. Thanks, that's right. Thank you to everyone who spoke, and I think it's clear that Lucy and I are done. I'll call her tonight to let her know we're done. The first change. A few weeks ago, I wrote about a problem I was having with Lucy, my lover. She put pressure on me to try non-monogamy behaviors that I didn't want to do and told me I had to give in when I didn't. The responses to my piece made it clear that she and I were not sexually compatible, but I quietly hoped that we could still be together. Soon after our first conversation, Lucy told me she was sorry after I told her her behavior was wrong and went against my rules even though I had told her many times no. She suggested that we split ourselves and write down the things we would and would not do. Then we should look for places where we could agree to disagree or find common ground. It made sense. Our lists were swapped the other day. Lucy was clearly upset with mine because I pretty much didn't go to any of the Ian ethnic non-monogamy parties. She suggested. She didn't seem very interested in toys, even though I made it clear that I was ready to do the things on her list that she liked with someone else. This is what she said on the phone, sighing and sounding clearly upset. In this case, I'm the one who loses. I don't get anything, but you can do whatever you want. Dress number 5215 is what it is, but that's okay. I can keep my wants in check by thinking about them. I didn't like how she made it sound like I was being foolish or self-centered for not bending my rules, so I asked her why my readiness to do the monogamous thing she suggested didn't seem like meeting her halfway. Strange that it had to happen on the spot, and that I want my partner to enjoy it too. It's not possible for me to suddenly change how much I enjoy a certain physical act, or how we feel about it. I told Lucy that it was she who had told me in harsh words a few weeks before that our sexual life was dull and unfulfilling for her, and that it was clear that there weren't many ways to solve this problem, even after our list comparison exercise, even though I'm willing to try committed things. I told her that I was worried about whether I would ever be able to kiss my partner again. Will she get angry or cheat on me in the end? Moving around in my head, and that I would really like some kind of proof that these worries aren't real, or that we can solve this. Well, what about me? She asked right back. But what about all I have to give up that really hurt me? And it reminded me of how she had repeatedly crossed my limits and shown no attention to how I felt during our earlier conversation. I quickly said goodbye and hung up the phone with her because I was getting angry and knew that yelling at her would make things worse. She sent me a lot of texts before bed, telling me how unhappy she was with things and how she wanted me to feel even worse about it because of all the things she had to hold back and think about. She said she didn't feel respected because she had to control her sex feelings to keep the relationship going. This made me feel pretty uncomfortable. Why? In the world, would someone feel bad because they don't want to put their mental health at risk to meet their partner's sexual needs? That I should thank her for making me so scared of the relationship I'm in now. I could see why I wouldn't want to do E&M. If Lucy and I were in a bedroom with no one else in it, or if I wasn't willing to try anything new. I told her I was sorry for making her feel like she was missing out, but it's really mean to say that making sure there are sexual limits is something I should feel bad about. My thoughts are all over the place. I thought, maybe naively, that by comparing our lists and dealing with the things that were similar, we could save our relationship. But in fact, it has only shown me how sexually incompatible we are, and the way she has handled the situation has really irritated me. I get the same feeling as in my last post. She doesn't care about how I feel and is only trying to get what she wants. This time by making weak attempts to guilt trip me. This time I'm not going to ignore what's clear. I care about Lucy, but I hate how she constantly puts me down and pushes me in this way, and I hate how she doesn't care about my feelings or who I am. Opie's answer to the comments was, stuck in the tundra, she's trying to trick you into giving her what she wants. This is a big sign that you should leave. She has said very clearly that she wants this no matter what you think, and that by holding back, she is doing you a favor. After just one bad argument, she will give in to desire. It's not certain that she will tell you, but it's likely that she will. She's more interested in trying things out with you as a safety net than in getting serious with you. Do not go through any more pain and suffering. FR33 add a speaker. To be honest, she probably already has someone in mind. Simply to give you some history, Lucy really wants to play with other couples in a situation like MMFF, but I'm not. She made it very clear that she only wanted us to do this as a pair. Of course, I don't want to look into MMFF, but I don't believe this is an excuse for her to cheat on me behind my back. That's all I know. As a result of our many conversations, it's clear that the damage has been done. Until I give in, our sex life will always be dull and unfulfilling for her. Also, I don't want to be with someone who makes it clear that they're happy with our sexual relationship and then expects me to be grateful or even sorry for it. Since she is stuck in the cold, she either seems like poly or wants to live like a swinger poly. If you have a strong no, that's fine. It's also fine if she does. It might just make you unfit. When monogamous people try to be poly and when poly tries to be monogamous people, it usually causes a lot of pain and hurt for everyone. I wish you the best in everything you do. Update 2: Lucy and I are no longer together. In a text message yesterday, I told her the news and asked that we talk on the phone first. But she told me I could only break up with her by text message and then over the phone. She couldn't stop crying and claimed that there had been a big mistake. She said she was sorry for what she had done, that she would never hurt me again, and that she was happy with our relationship. It was really hard to hear how upset she was, but I wouldn't give up. Since she had been interested in the EM things she wanted to do from a young age, I thought she was changing what she had said before and playing down how important they were. So they can't just be brushed off as passing thoughts. That she had apologized, which I appreciated, But the relationship was now broken beyond repair, and I couldn't be with someone who was definitely not sexually suitable with me. It hurts, even if this was the best thing that could have happened. Lucy and I are going to have some alone time. We will have to get together to work things out and maybe clear the air because we have a trip planned and some of her things are at my house. I have to be tough and not give up. Thanks for taking the time to hear me out and give me advice. That's why it's important. Next, my girlfriend wants me to go to the Christmas party at her workplace. There, I'll have to talk to 2 men she had sex with, but they'll still make fun of her and call her names. F27 is my girlfriend, and M31 is me. Their business Christmas party has been planned every year for almost 2.5 years. Employees and their wives are asked to stay the night, eat dinner, and party. They don't have to, but it seems like they would like to. Open bar, etc. I couldn't go to the celebrations the year before because I had to attend a business meeting and because we were still pretty new as a couple. She works for a big global staffing company that runs an office in a different place every year. People who aren't from that area often stay at a fancy hotel that the company has booked for them. It's being checked to see how many people there are, and she wants me to go. Just so you know, she told me at her first work Christmas party before we started dating that we are very honest with each other and talk a lot. For some reason, she decided to do something off her list and went to an after party in one of the guys' hotel rooms. There, she had a threesome with 2 guys from work. Tell her I'd like to pass on it after giving it some thought. If she wants to go it alone, that's fine with me. She says it's important for her job because it boosts her reputation, lets her work with people from different departments, and lets her meet top management. Almost all of her co-workers also try. Since then, we've been fighting all week and she said I'm childish, making her look bad, and not helping her job because I haven't been to any of her previous work events. I really don't believe any of this. It was something she did before we met. We definitely have different ideas about sex. For me, it's always been something special, but for her, it's just a little fun. We're fine with this because we've learned a lot from each other. It's actually helped us. The fact that she still works with these 2 guys makes me feel better. I know she's had a lot more sex partners than I have, but she always thought of having sex with strangers as a little fun when she was single, and I know that it wasn't important to her. It's one thing to be okay with having a sexual past. There is no wrong way to have sex. That's fine with me. Going to the same party as my woman and the 2 men who have slept with her feels like a different chore than it did in the past, even though it is the past. I don't like how it makes me feel. I thought it would be easier to just say I'm not going. When asked if anyone else at work knew, she said yes. Later, one or both of the men spread stories and made fun of her with nicknames and teasing about it. It doesn't bother me, she said. She seems like the kind of person who would keep her trust. That makes me feel like a business bro. Men who have slept with my girlfriend make it hard for me to think about shaking hands, starting a chat, and eating at the same table as them. As background, we've been talking about marriage lately. Things are going well between us, and we don't fight very often. Having kids, etc. And they enjoy being with each other and don't want to do anything that could hurt their relationship or job. That's why I wrote about my problem on another forum. I think this one might be better, Adio. It turns out that people you don't know can be very helpful. Comments that the Opry replied to. Even though I'm dreaming, I really think you need to get through this. You might not have to go this year, but if she keeps working for this company and her husband or fiancé never shows up to a work event, it will hurt her image. I believe it would be better for you to move on and understand that it's just a thought. It might help if you tried not to think of it as mingling. Her job pretty much requires her to go to these events, so what you do or don't do does affect her. Not that she wants you to become best friends with these guys, but she does want you to be polite to them for a short time at work. Thanks for your answer. Oop. I know it's bad for a spouse's image when she doesn't show up to events, but I think those were good reasons. I like that she's being honest, but I'm just trying to get over the social awkwardness I've been feeling. Peanuts and Cheese 2021. She was happy to be a part of that team. If you're mad or don't want to go somewhere because of the other 2 partners, you're taking away her freedom and choice as a person. Why wouldn't you want her to go to a wedding where your ex was? Not the physical partner, but the fact that there were 3 of them, and you're making moral judgments about them. You're also afraid that the other 2 guys will think they have something on you. Is that right? Sorry. I think you're mostly right. Not because she chose to be in a trio, though I'm not blaming her for that. At that time, she wasn't with anyone. Because there were 3 of them, it's just harder because there are so many more ex-sexual partners to be around, which can be scary. If there's something over me that makes me nervous, I don't know what it is. I can deal with her past, and she's now my girlfriend. The way those 2 guys act could be a problem. She's been told they tell other people in the company about her meeting and call her slut-shaming nicknames when they think she's not around. If that was said about her while I was there, it would make me feel awkward and possibly weak. Changed on October 3rd, 2024. Good morning, everyone. I saw a few update me comments on the original post, and since I had some free time, I thought I'd give you an update on the situation I wrote about a while ago. First, I want to say how much I value all the help and comments you gave me. There were good and bad things about it that made me think a lot. It also helped me plan some important talks with my lady. To sum up the first post, I am 31 and my girlfriend F27 have been together for almost 3 years. This year, she asked me to her company's yearly Christmas party at a resort. This meant that I would have to hang out with coworkers, including 2 guys she dated before we started dating. Her sexual past didn't bother me in and of itself. That being said, I felt uncomfortable going to the party and sitting at the same table as these guys, especially since they still joke about it and call her names that I think are rude. I was also afraid that I might become the target of these jokes, which made the thought of going even more unsettling. At first, I said I wouldn't go, which caused some stress and a fight between us. Just to be clear about something, I'm not ashamed of her past at all, based on some of the comments and direct messages. Before we started dating, I knew she had a good view of sex because we were in the same social group. She was also honest about having been with about 50 guys. That was never a problem for me. Our experiences may be different because I've only been with 3 long-term GFS before, but it never stopped me from looking into her and starting a relationship with her. It never has been a problem for me. What made this case different was that I would be in a room with people who are still talking about that event, maybe even at the same dinner table. I've never had to deal with that in person, and the thought of those same people making jokes about me, or with me in the room, made it feel even worse with other people. So keep up. After we talked about things in depth and listened to each other, my girlfriend helped me see things from her point of view more clearly. She said that being the only person from her office who didn't have a partner would make her feel weird and alone, and she might not have enough social support at the event. She was also shocked and a little upset when I changed my mind about going, as it gave me a little question that I wasn't looking at this to shame her. We also talked about her thoughts on sex acceptance in a healthy way. I see things differently now because she is sure of herself when she celebrates that part of her life. She told me that jokes and nicknames at work don't bother her, so why should they bother me? Use of words like slut should not be taken as an insult. Instead, she should have something to be proud of that would let her own and recover her sexuality as a woman without feeling bad about it. Even more so because guys who do those kinds of things are held to a higher standard than she is. I learned that I should fully back her choices if they allow her to be proud of herself and stand firm in them. Anyway, I've made up my mind to attend the event. There are still some things I'm not sure about, but I know it's important to help her at work. She's someone I trust, and if she feels good there, I want to too. In the end, I'm glad she's honest and doesn't feel bad about her views, and I don't want to let my discomfort show, or something as silly as the chance of being made fun of gets in the way of fully backing her. Our relationship has grown stronger because of the great talks we've had about jobs, sex, relationships, women, and society. Again, thank you very much for all the help. Comment where OP has answered, minimum effort, what kind of jerks would talk about that at work? You will need to be at these kinds of events if you want to be with her for a long time. To avoid being rude, act like you didn't hear them if they say something. If she said anything else, you could joke that they were shitty in bed or say that you can't wait to tell their next woman this story. No matter what you do, you can't act like it didn't bother you.